Highway patrol hopefully not going to pull us over.
Do it.
Well, at least we weren't speeding.
I'm so glad the handling is bad in this car.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have had a problem there.
Hey, Jacob.
Oh, hey, Matt.
What are we driving today?
Oh, it's a bloody Toyota Fortuner Crusade.
Ah, the Fortuner, our arch nemesis.
We meet again.
We had a pretty critical review last time we reviewed this. In fact, we weren't even going to release that review. It was almost 2 years ago now. It was the GXL, the model below. Now we have the top of the grade, the luxury Fortuner, the Crusade. Some might say this is the real Indian Mafia car.
Some would say that.
That was a legitimate thing that people have told us. Also, I've never received death threats over a car. Fortuner popped my cherry. So there you go.
So now you're going to receive maiming threats.
But we're still going to be honest with you guys. So today we're going to take you for a full review of the Toyota Fortuner in 2024. It's getting on now and there is no replacement in sight. So should you be going out and buying one of these? Because it's actually stacking up to be relatively good value as every other car increases their price with new models and price increases in general. So we're going to go for an exterior tour of the Fortuner. What do you get with the luxury Crusade? We're going to check out its practicality. We're going to go into the interior, gonna see what the good and the bad of that is. Then we're gonna launch this thing. We're gonna drag it using our specialist timing gear, see just how quick it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. And then we will drive this thing, give it lots of sauce, see how does it actually stack up now. Because there are some things I like and some things I really don't like. And we'll end on our final thoughts. Should you buy a Toyota Fortuner, the Indian Mafia car apparently?
And are you Indian Mafia? Let us know.
Let us know. All right. Let's check out the exterior. Alrighty, Daddy Jacob, let's talk price. This thing here, $72,500 drive away. Now, Jacob, you might be saying to yourself,
That's a lot.
that's a lot of money. The reality is, it's about the same price as a top-of-the-range Isuzu D-Max LST. It's more expensive than a Mitsubishi Pajero Sport XC, though I would argue it's probably better in some ways, but worse in others. And it is quite significantly cheaper than the equivalent Ford Everest. And if you want to go watch that review, we did a long-term review of that, and I'll link that down below. But the thing I can't help but think is that you can get a Mahindra Scorpio for like 30 grand less.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and we're actually doing a comparison, or it might already be out. So make sure you subscribe to the channel to see as soon as that one goes live. Let's talk about the way that this thing looks though.
I think it looks nice.
I think it looks pretty nice, So you got these cool daytime running lights here. It's got pretty bright LEDs. You only get like full LED lights on the Crusade. Below it's a bi-LED and then halogen, so that's just kind of
crap. Yeah.
You do get LED fog lights here too. That's also good. Got a nice small grille. Doesn't need to be too big. I like that. You've also got the Toyota badge here. That's also your radar for your adaptive cruise control. Again, not the best. It does cut off under like 30 kilometers an hour, which kind of sucks when you're in bumper to bumper traffic. You do have a camera up there though, because this thing does have autonomous emergency braking. It's also got lane departure warning, but as you'll see a bit later, it's a bad one.
so bad.
It's a bad one. Here you've got a very plastic bumper, but most cars like that for safety regulations. And then underneath you have a steel bash plate as well, because it's actually quite a capable off-roader. We'll talk about that in just a second. Jake, what do you think of the red?
It's very similar to another red we've seen.
Very similar to a Mahindra Scorpio, but I think the Mahindra Scorpio copied this. Let's check out the side.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, let's talk about the side. It's a long-looking vehicle. It's actually really not too long, and it's got pretty decent approach, ramp over, and departure angles. I'll put that up on the screen now. So yeah, it's actually quite a good body kit to it, though. If you're going to be doing serious off-roading, you're going to want to
Lift it up.
Put a serious off-road kit on it. You've got these 18-inch alloy wheels here. Some people say that 18-inch wheels are actually the best for off-roading. It means you can put on some good tires. That's good. It actually comes with decent Dunlop Grand Trek all-terrain tires as well. I'm pretty sure they're a run flat, so a bit noisy, but they're okay. You've also got a 360 camera there. This has a terrible 360 camera.
Yeah, it's I'd be using the reverse camera. Let's just say that.
It's like, why even bother? And why they're doing so bad? It comes from Japan. Toyota, Japanese company, you'd think they'd be at the forefront of technology. Not here. Not with a Fortuner.
You get the old stuff on this one.
Yeah, they do it better in their newer cars though. You've got these chrome door handles that looks very mid-2000s, but keyless entry and go. You got some of the most tinted privacy glass. Also for your third row as well. It's got a very floating roof design to it. Oh my God, where's the roof? You got some plastic side steps here, which are okay. I mean, they'll crack, but they won't dent. Let's check out the bum.
Let's do it.
And then the bum.
And then there was a bum.
You've got a pretty nice tail light here, cool 3D effect, LED turn signals there too. Toyota badge, Fortuner is spelt out there. Also, Crusade. No one forgets that you are the big boss of the Indian Mafia.
You are the head honcho.
You are the head honcho in your Crusade with your kind of weird leather seats, which we'll come back to. You've got a spoiler up here, very aggro, as you're gapping everyone else in Mumbai traffic. And then down the bottom, you have a full-size spare wheel and an exhaust pipe. Actually sounds weirdly good. Take a listen. Alrighty, Daddy Jacob. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Powered tailgate.
Except it takes 10 hours to open.
Bloody hell.
10 hours later.
You done? Cool. In the back, you actually get a decent amount of space. 200 litres of boot space with the third row up. Quite impressive.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Annoyingly though, you have to do this. Ka-chow.
You have to do the Fortuner dance.
Yeah, you're gonna do the Fortuner dance. Pull the seats. Ugh. You pull the seats up. Okay.
You made that look really, really easy.
Now you have 719 litres of boot space. It's only about 400 litres less than an Isuzu MU-X. About 130, 40 litres less than a Ford Everest.
Close enough.
Our long-termer that we had. The annoying thing is, right, it actually would be totally fine. In fact, it'd be a lot more. These like growths didn't have to stay up on the side, which not only blocks your C-pillar, by the way, you've got no view out of there anymore, but also it just takes up so much like horizontal space. I think it's really, really silly, and I've been complaining about this now for years because this has been on sale for years. You can drop the second row though, and then yes, you get more space, but again, it's never as good as competitors. So that's like one of my biggest complaints about this is actually just the practicality of the back. I think they could have packaged this a lot better. But hey, I guess when they were designing this in 1910,
They didn't have concepts such as
they
space.
didn't have concepts like that.
Space and time weren't invented yet.
All right, let's check out the interior.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, Daddy Jacob. Let's talk about the interior. Actually, before we do that, shout out to us. Okay.
We are locking eyes right now.
Shout out to us. CarSauce.com/buy. We've partnered with Australia's #1 car buying service with thousands of 5-star reviews to allow us to get you guys the absolute best price for your next car with absolutely zero hassle. Literally, you don't have to deal with dealers at all. No one likes them. Because we will deal with them and we make them fight each other quite literally to get you the absolute best price. We take a fixed fee no matter what you pay. So we're always going to get you the absolute best price. And again, at zero fee to you. So head to CarSauce.com/buy if you want to buy a Fortuner or any other new car. You literally will just get the best price with no hassle.
It's pretty simple.
And no obligation. Why wouldn't you? Let's talk about the interior though, Jake, of the Fortuner.
It's pretty nice.
It's pretty nice. So last time we reviewed a Fortuner and we drop kicked that.
We punted it.
Yeah, it was like, we're a bit of a bully at school, you know? We put its head in toilet water. This is a lot nicer than the GXL that we had. The Crusade definitely levels things up with material choices. So you've got this faux leather here, faux leather up on the dash. You got some pretty scratchy materials up there, but this is nice and soft. Scratchy there. Soft there. So, you know, you get some nice materials. Wood grain.
Very Lexus.
It's a very Lexus. Even the steering wheel, look, it doesn't feel the greatest, I'm not gonna lie, but you get some wood up there, which is actually quite annoying because you touch it and all of a sudden you lose your grip. Your hand just slips off.
It's like an ice rink.
Oh, it's just annoying. It's just annoying. Why would they do that? But otherwise, it's quite a nice interior. The design is definitely feeling old. You got a grandfather clock up here. This probably first came out on Toyotas in like the early 2000s. Don't know why they've kept it here. You know?
You know what, bro? It's a bloody relic.
Maybe.
Of times past.
Maybe if you're nostalgic, you're gonna love it. The technology in here is not great. Up in front of you, you get analog gauges. You get a little screen in the center, which actually shows like enough information, but even it lags, and it's bloody like black and white. So, you know, it's got some color to it, but not much. You've got some blue gauges though, that do look admittedly quite cool. I'm quite partial to that. The infotainment display here, it's small. Now, there's nothing wrong with being small, Jacob, but there is something wrong with being a little slow. And this feels a little slow. The maps are actually quite responsive, so they've definitely updated something, whether it's the software or the processor, I don't know. It can feel pretty slow in other areas. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Any bright sunlight coming from either your left or right,
yeah, good luck.
you can't see the screen anymore, okay? So it's not the best in that way. The air conditioning controls though, they work fine. It has amazing aircon. All Toyotas seem to have amazing aircon, and it is very, very good. Also attached to this infotainment display are the JBL speakers.
Very nice.
Sound absolutely phenomenal. Really, really good.
Even though they've been super glued to the dash.
Too bad they've been super glued to the dash. They look like warts. It's like the back. You know, this car can't win. It's got growth in the back, growth up front. It should just give up now. These speakers here, they reflect so much because of the silver on them, and they are quite clearly afterthoughts, that when I'm driving, that's like what I see in my peripheral all the time, just silver.
That's safe.
Yeah, I don't love that. I think it's silly. I think it's dumb.
Guys, sorry for the cut-in, but I've just found out that this doesn't have auto wipers. It's 72 grand, it doesn't have auto wipers. Are you joking? What the frick? All right, back to the review.
You get a USB-A port, 12-volt socket. You've also got heated seats here, but they're just a single button on and off switch. They feel pretty cheap, and also they're not backlit, so at nighttime, you just got to kind of memorize whether you're pressing the right or left seat, and you just got to wait.
You got to feel around.
Yeah.
You might hit the DAC button by accident.
Yeah, you do have your hill descent control button there. This is a proper off-roader, so it is a part-time four-wheel drive, which means that power will be sent to the rear wheels in pretty much all circumstances, unless you're off-road. Then you can turn on the four-wheel drive system. Got 4 high. It's also got a low-range transfer case. You do also have a locking rear diff too. Let's talk about, Jacob, practicality,
Because it's actually all right.
love it in here. So under here, you got a couple of cup holders. You've got a split glove box. Oh, I'm such a slut for split glove boxes. You've got hidden cup holders on both sides.
I love that.
Favorite feature ever. I don't know why every car doesn't have that, to be honest. You have a nice soft center armrest with heaps of storage space within there too. Oh, a physical handbrake.
Very nice.
Love that. The seats, they're leather,
Yeah.
but
They don't feel the best.
They almost don't feel like leather. It's the exact same as in a Ford Everest. It's like a vinyl-y leather. Maybe it's like hard-wearing leather. But as a result, you kind of lose that leather feel and just, I don't know.
It feels very hard.
It feels very hard, so not the best. Also, the door bins are tiny. Make me sad. You've also got your drive mode selectors here, individual buttons. That just feels like a bit of an afterthought as well, or old school. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comment section. What do you think? What do you think of the interior?
I think it's just old school Toyota.
It doesn't feel bad. It just doesn't feel up to par with competition. The Ford Everest blows this out of the water.
But this is cheaper than the Ford Everest.
It is spec for spec now, so that is the thing. Let's show you out the back seats.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, Jacob.
Oh, thunk.
Not a good thonk.
No,
Feels
it's
actually
very
quite-
lightweight,
yeah.
the doors.
Feels kind of tinny. I don't know. Anyway, back seats of the Fortuner. I'm 5'11". I've got heaps of legroom. Toe room is actually fantastic as well. Headroom is really good too. So in terms of like how I'm sitting, it's fantastic. The seats, this is the one thing I've really noticed sitting in them, is that I slide around on them a lot, and I think it's just the material like choice. It's really easy to move around. They're just not very grippy, which isn't great. You do have a third zone of fan control, not climate, so you can change the fan, but you can't change the temperature. Who cares? At least you get it. Got some vents up in the roof. Here, the seats don't feel that great. Again, it's leather, but yeah, almost don't think it is. Pull that down, got a nice soft center armrest with a couple of cup holders. I like that, always like that. In terms of practicality back here though, it is actually pretty good. So 12-volt socket, never loved that because you need an adapter, but I'll live with it. You've also got a phone storage area. The thing I love is that you get an inverter, and that means that you can have a household socket here. Fantastic. It means you can plug in your laptop.
You can make grilled cheese sandwiches in the back.
Probably not. You probably need about 10 times the wattage that this puts out, but still, you can do some stuff, a lot more stuff than most other cars. You've also got a couple of carry hooks there and some mat pockets too. Quality doesn't necessarily take a hit because the front also has scratchy plastic on the doors, but this is nice and soft again, same as the front. But Jacob, this does have a third row. Is it terrible? Well, actually, no. So it's really easy to get into the third row. Once you're back there, again, 5'11", I've got enough leg room. Toe room is actually great too. Headroom though isn't good. So my head is literally on the roof and I'm really not that tall. So that's not fantastic. You do get a couple of air vents back there though. So third row passengers are gonna be too unhappy. You can definitely get like adults back there, but you're gonna want the smaller side of the adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah, smaller than you at least.
Smaller than me. But otherwise, the interior is like unremarkable.
It's unremarkable. It definitely feels a bit long in the tooth, but in terms of practicality, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Let us know what you guys think though of the interior down in the comment section. And was I too harsh last time? Jacob, let's launch it.
Let's launch it.
Alrighty, Daddy Jacob. It's
Time to launch the Fortuner.
The Fortuner. Will fortune be in its favor?
Does fortune favor the bold?
Fist me. Here we go, dads. Oh,
Come on,
I like the torque.
Let's go. Let's go.
Come on.
Yeah, let's get a move on.
Come on.
Oh.
0 to 100 in 10.24 seconds. That's kind of average,
Yeah,
actually.
it's nothing remarkable.
It's okay.
It's all right.
All right, let's try this thing.
Okay.
Alrighty, Daddy Jacob.
It's the Daddy Fortuner.
Oh, we had the same reaction. So powering this thing is the same engine as you'll find in a HiLux.
Ah,
It's a 2.8 litre turbo diesel 4-cylinder. It's actually quite a lot of literage for a 4-cylinder.
it's a big boy.
And it puts out a really good amount of power. 150 kilowatt of power, 500 newton meters of torque through a 6-speed Aisin source torque converter automatic. Put your foot down.
You know what it is? It's just a bloody old school, reliable powertrain. That's what it is.
That's it. But it's also the thing that makes this like shine. I would say of all the 4 cylinders out there, like this is arguably my favorite in the segment because it does have a lot of pulling power. You put your foot down and it just goes. It just goes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it runs out of puff. It's technically not quite as fast as what you'll find in a Ford Everest with its 2-litre 4-cylinder bi-turbo, but I still think it's pretty much at the same level. And let's be honest, as far as diesel engines go, it is one of the most reliable out there.
Exactly.
It's
proven. It's proven. That's one of the things with having an older powertrain in your car. It is proven.
It's proven, and we know it's a reliable engine, right? So, okay, the drivetrain itself is totally fine. In fact, it's pretty good. So, what doesn't the Fortuner do well?
As we overtake these cyclists.
Oh my God, they're coming both ways.
Oh my God.
Oh.
We're being overrun on our roads.
What doesn't it do well? A few things. The suspension tuning is somehow both firm and too soft. And what I mean by that is when you're just driving along, it's not like a comfortable drive. But then as soon as you turn a corner, this thing body rolls like no
like a
tomorrow.
boat.
It's actually quite surreal. The steering as well, it's an electrically assisted hydraulic steering. It feels really heavy. It just feels cumbersome, like heavy, not in a good way. And we do have drive modes in the Crusade here, but you know, it doesn't change the steering. It just changes the throttle mapping and the transmission mapping.
Oh God. Yeah, so I feel like the steering being like indirect combined with the really soft suspension just makes the handling of this car really bad.
I'll tell you what, you just feel physics more in this, right? You just feel inertia in pretty much every way.
Yeah.
It just moves kind of how it wants to move itself.
Yeah, and you know what? Like we did drive the Scorpio recently, and that's very similar in weight to this.
Yeah.
But this feels so much heavier on the road.
So much heavier. It also feels a lot heavier than the Ford Everest, which actually is heavier than this. And I had that car for 3 months. So if there's anyone qualified to talk about like sitting in a benchmark car and then comparing it to this, it's me. And I'll be honest, it's just disappointing. What this has over that though is price, because it never used to be like this, but it's actually like one of the best priced body on frame SUVs in the segment. It's actually one of the cheapest.
Yeah, except for the Scorpio.
Except for the Scorpio. But like in terms of the mainstream brands, versus a Mitsubishi Pajero Sport versus an Isuzu D-Max, this actually presents like pretty similar value. What this doesn't get though versus, for example, the Pajero Sport is a permanent 4-wheel drive. Oh God, I just like, I'm starting to feel kind of sick.
Me too, man.
Around these corners, I'm not gonna lie. All right, we are at Saucy Corner though.
It's time.
Let's perk those little tits of ours up. You gonna tickle my little pickle?
Oh, I'm perked.
Here we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
torque.
Certainly not performance
Torque for
tires on
days.
this. Pretty good tires though. Yeah, a lot of torque. The pulling power, like the straight line performance, it's
Very good.
It's actually really good.
Oh, come on.
So it goes around the corners. We're
Oh,
body rolling
jeez,
around.
man.
Highway patrol hopefully not going to pull us over.
Oh God. They probably saw us like off to the side
Yeah.
like this. Like, what are these guys doing?
Well, at least we weren't speeding.
I'm so glad the handling is bad in this car.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have had a problem there.
Could you imagine? We're in like a sports car going out there. We would have been fucked.
That would have been one of the all-time CarSauce moments, I reckon.
But anyway, look, performance is adequate. It doesn't stand out, but it's not like terrible either.
No.
So is it the greatest? Absolutely not. But I think it's now starting to represent relatively decent value in this segment.
Yeah, if the Scorpio didn't exist.
If the Scorpio didn't exist. Now, Jacob, 2 more things. One is, how is this thing's fuel economy? So in spirit, let's put this car into eco mode. Check that. Oh, wrong way.
Oh.
10.3 litres per 100 kilometres.
I mean, that does make sense given that it's a 2.8 litre
Yeah,
4-cylinder.
it uses a little bit more fuel than probably other 4-cylinders out there, so that's not amazing. The other thing is the driver assistance, or I would say it's got a 50% driver assistance. So it does have adaptive cruise control, but I think it cuts off at like 30 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I want adaptive cruise control in bumper to bumper traffic.
That's when you want it the most.
That's when you really want it.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it doesn't get that is kind of annoying. It's probably because it gets a real handbrake here. The other thing is it does have a lane departure warning. It's an annoying lane departure warning.
It's one of those old school ones that just gives you a bloody shove from the front.
It breaks the wheel
Ugh.
that's going out of the lane, for example. So if I go this way,
Oh
You can
my God.
feel it, it breaks it. And that's not annoying just for the car behind you as you slow down relatively significantly. It's also annoying for you. It's just annoying. It's an annoying system.
It's an annoying feeling, actually.
It's an annoying feeling. That's
Yeah.
what it is. I would rather the steering wheel tug me back in the lane than have the wheel brake. I actually find that to be more dangerous
Yeah.
and more annoying.
Especially given the body roll of this car, it makes you kind of like lurch forward a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our
That's
little,
enough complaining.
That's our complaints. Jacob, let's get to our final thoughts.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. Daddy Jacob, final thoughts on the Toyota Fortuner. You first.
Look, it's a definite improvement over the last one we did. However, I just think there's so many better options out there.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like I said, we had the Ford Everest, which we consider to be the benchmark of the class, and most people do as well. And we had that for 3 months. I'll link that review down below. We had the Sport variant, which is very similar to this. It just does everything better.
It just craps all over it, frankly.
Frankly, it does. Let us know what you guys think, though, of the Toyota Fortuner down below. Are you worried about how the Indian Mafia are going to message you on your Instagram? Like me.
I think we should be.
All right, ciao for now.
Bye-bye.